Man up is not what you were told. Man up. 2 words. 2 words that have been repeated to men for generations like a command. Not advice, not wisdom, a command. Man up. And most men were never told what that actually meant. They were just told what it wasn't allowed to be. Don't feel. Don't speak. Don't ask for help. Carry it alone. Handle it. Shut up. That's not strength. That's silence. And silence doesn't disappear. It ferments. Here's the lie men were sold. That strength means not feeling. That resilience means not talking. That masculinity means never breaking. But that definition didn't make men strong. It made them trained to suppress. And suppressed emotion doesn't vanish. It goes underground. It turns into anger. It turns into numbness. It turns into addiction. It turns into explosions that seem sudden but aren't. They were delayed. They were predictable. They were inevitable. A man who is never allowed to feel doesn't become stronger. He becomes pressurized. And pressure always finds a release. Sometimes it looks like rage. Sometimes it looks like withdrawal. Sometimes it looks like walking away from everyone. Sometimes it looks like self-destruction. And sometimes it looks like a man who simply can't carry it anymore. That's not weakness. That's damage. Here's the part no one wants to say out loud. Men are not breaking because they're emotional. They're breaking because they were shamed for being human. Shame is the weapon, not emotion. When a boy learns early that showing pain gets him mocked, dismissed, told to toughen up, he doesn't stop feeling. He just learns to hide it. And hiding is not healing. Let's be clear, because this is where people twist the message. This is not about men becoming fragile. This is not about men crying over everything. This is not about abandoning strength. Men need strength. This world is brutal. Life is unforgiving. Men are expected to lead, provide, protect, and endure. That part is real. But strength without release becomes destruction. Real masculinity is not emotional suppression. Real masculinity is emotional control. And you cannot control what you're not allowed to acknowledge. That's the part men were never taught. Think about what Man Up actually trained men to do. It trained them to swallow humiliation, absorb pressure, Take hits without flinching. Keep moving without processing. Never admit when something cut deep. That's not mastery. That's endurance without maintenance. No machine survives that. No human does either. Here's the truth most men feel but rarely say. You don't want to be weak. You want to be understood. You don't want to collapse. You want permission to unload what you've been carrying. You don't want sympathy. You want space to breathe without being judged. And instead, men were told, if you talk about it, you're soft. If you feel it, you're weak. If you admit it, you're less of a man. That lie has cost lives. There are cultures, families, and systems where men are raised to believe that emotional silence is honor. Be stoic. Be composed. Never show cracks. And many of those men are quietly dying inside. I've seen it. I've seen young men collapse who never learned how to speak their pain. They didn't lack strength. They lacked safety. And that distinction matters. Let me say this as clearly as possible. A man who can articulate his pain without being consumed by it is dangerously strong. A man who can say, "I'm not okay," and still stand upright is not weak. He's disciplined. A man who knows when to speak and when to act is not soft. He's controlled. That is masculinity. Suppression is not strength. It's a time bomb. You can only compress emotion for so long before it leaks out sideways. Through short tempers, emotional shutdown, substance abuse, reckless behavior, destroyed relationships, or complete isolation. And then people act surprised. They say, "He just snapped. He changed. No one saw it coming." It was coming. It was just quiet. Men don't need permission to be weak. They need permission to be honest. Honest about pressure, honest about exhaustion, honest about fear, honest about the moments when life beats them down. That honesty doesn't reduce a man. It grounds him. Here's the redefinition that actually works. Man up does not mean shut down. Man up means take responsibility. Face reality. Speak truth before it poisons you. Carry weight, but unload it intentionally. Build strength with awareness, not denial. That's not softness. That's leadership. A man who suppresses everything eventually becomes unpredictable. A man who processes becomes stable. And stability is what real power looks like. Not loud dominance, not emotional absence, not pretending nothing affects you, but knowing yourself well enough to not self-destruct. If you were taught that being vulnerable makes you less of a man, you were lied to. Vulnerability without boundaries is chaos, but vulnerability with control is courage. And courage has always been masculine. Men don't need to be fixed. They need to be released from shame. Shame is what tells a man his pain is unacceptable. Shame is what keeps him silent. Shame is what isolates him. And isolation is where men disappear long before anyone notices. So no, this isn't about turning men into something weak. It's about giving men back what they were denied. Language, release, control, and self-respect. Strength isn't the absence of emotion. Strength is the ability to carry it without letting it destroy you. That's what man up should have meant all along.